Extra Chapter 1. Honey, I'm here. At 18, Ethan Young's life was, in a word, tragic. Unspeakably tragic. On December 28th, his parents died in an accident. When Ethan got the call, he was completely numb. Arriving home, he saw their bodies covered in blood. Apparently, they were caught in a landslide on their way home. Many people were crushed at the scene. His parents were among them. The scene was chaotic, shouting, confusion, crying all around. In mere moments, Ethan experienced life's deepest sorrow, separation by death, and witnessed the raw spectrum of human suffering. Looking at his parents' unrecognizable bodies on the ground, everyone around him wept, but he couldn't. His throat felt blocked by a sharp stone, tight and aching. His soul felt detached, floating above, watching his own rigid form below, like a withered leaf, ready to be torn apart by the wind at any second. Ethan Young. Someone called his name. Ethan looked up, his empty eyes focusing on the person before him. You poor kid. How could something like this happen right before your college entrance exams? And your sister has that heart condition. How will she handle this news? I wonder if there'll be any compensation. With your parents gone, how will you and your sister manage? How would they manage? Ethan couldn't fathom it. Hearing the word sister jolted him slightly. He called relatives, contacted a few acquaintances, and arranged for his parents to be taken to the crematorium and handled the procedures. There wasn't much money. 2 children were expensive, especially since the younger one had a heart condition. His parents had stretched themselves thin, taking out a 25-year mortgage for a house in a good school district just for the kids. It was only the 4th year of the loan. Even selling the house wouldn't cover the remaining bank debt. With his parents gone, the mortgage fell to Ethan, unless he renounced his inheritance. Ethan considered trying to keep up the payments, but just then, Emily Young fell seriously ill and needed hospital treatment. That wiped out nearly all the money they had left. With no other choice, Ethan had to drop out of school and find work. His parents died in winter. That winter was colder than usual. The chill seeped into his clothes and stayed, an ache deep in his bones. Ethan knelt at the vigil from dusk till dawn, frozen, nearly senseless. Life had to go on. His only sister became Ethan's reason to keep going. When his parents died, Ethan hadn't felt much, strangely. He was in a daze, experiencing a chest tightness like sleep paralysis, dizzy and disoriented. He moved like a robot, doing whatever people told him. When left alone, he just stared blankly into space. It wasn't until after the funeral, when he started packing up their home, that reality crashed down. His mother's apron, his father's teacup, the lingering smell of cooking oil in the kitchen, the leftovers in the fridge, the family photos, the dates circled in red on the calendar. The day he was supposed to come home for winter break. He remembered calling his mom just last week. She'd asked him, "What do you want to eat when you get home?" They were gone, but their presence lingered everywhere in the house. He could almost still hear their voices. His mother in the kitchen, calling everyone to dinner while stir-frying. His father setting the table. The way they bickered, but smiled proudly when talking about their children. These memories felt fragile, like bubbles ready to pop, crowding his mind, trying to shield him from the image of his parents' mangled faces. Ethan emptied the fridge, heating the leftovers in a pot. The food had started to turn, but Ethan didn't throw it away. He forced himself to eat every bite. It was the last meal his parents had made. He wanted to burn the taste into his memory forever. He choked it down, mouthful after mouthful. A sour, salty taste filled his mouth. Tears streamed down Ethan's face. Psychologists say that when someone experiences overwhelming negative emotions they can't process, the brain activates a self-preservation mechanism to prevent a complete breakdown. Now, that defense mechanism had worn off. Grief crashed over him like a tsunami, leaving him utterly broken. The moment he closed the door to the house, he thought he heard someone behind him call his name. Ethan. He spun around. The house was silent, filled only with a bone-deep chill. The Young family didn't have many relatives, and neighbors couldn't help much, but some kind people lent him money to get by. He knelt and bowed his head, murmuring thanks over and over. During the hardest times, Ethan delivered milk early in the morning, cleaned houses later in the morning, worked temp jobs, washing dishes, and waiting tables through lunchtime, tutored a child referred by a classmate in the afternoon, and delivered food at night. He filled every waking hour. Only by exhausting himself to the point of breathlessness could he stop his mind from wandering. Emily Young's condition required a heart transplant for a full recovery. Because she was struggling emotionally, Ethan also hired a therapist to help her cope and encourage her to keep fighting. With their parents gone, he was like a father to her. He would raise her. His sister wasn't a burden. She was the only reason he hadn't completely fallen apart. Working endless odd jobs wasn't sustainable. He needed stable, better-paying work. But he had just turned 18, reeling from tragedy, his prospects limited, with little money and afraid to take risks. Honestly, there were times he seriously considered selling a kidney. Maybe it was exhaustion, or maybe he'd caught the flu, but Ethan woke up with a fever in the middle of the night. Just before dawn, he heard knocking at the door. Ethan forced himself up, willing himself to the door. Through blurred vision, he saw a woman standing there. "Honey, I've come to get you." Side story 2. This isn't a dream. Ethan Young strained to see the person before him. The overhead light felt like the sun, casting her in a golden halo, her face hidden in shadow. He tried to step closer for a better look, but his head swam, and he pitched forward. Instead of pain, he fell into a soft embrace. "Sorry." Ethan struggled to get up, but the woman held him tight. "You have a fever. Don't move. Let me help you inside." "No need. Be good. Listen to me." Why should he listen to a strange woman? But the next moment, a cool hand rested on his forehead, instantly calming his agitated state. With his remaining strength, he registered her scent, sweet, familiar, like gardenias. Then, everything went black. It took all of Zara Sinclair's strength to help Ethan Young inside. His rented apartment was modest, a small living room with a sofa, one bedroom. She managed to get him onto the bed. It was cold out, and Ethan hadn't turned on the heat, leaving the apartment chilly. This younger Ethan was thin and worn out, bearing several injuries. His hands, especially, were covered in chafed blisters and calluses. Dark circles shadowed his eyes, and his face held the unhealthy flush of fever. Seeing him like this, Zara felt a pang of both pity and anger. Angry that he'd opened the door for a stranger when he was clearly unwell. What if it had been someone dangerous? Zara didn't take Ethan to the hospital. Instead, she called Dr. Johnson to make a house call for a shot and a prescription. Ethan's fever was high, and the regular cold medicine he had at home wasn't working. The flu was going around, severe enough that delaying treatment could lead to pneumonia. "Why don't you take better care of yourself?" she murmured to the unconscious Ethan. "If I hadn't shown up, how would you have managed?" Zara herself didn't know how she'd ended up here. One moment, she was 37, enjoying a playful moment with her husband, things just heating up. The next, everything went black. When she came to, she'd traveled back 15 years. She was 22 again. While she'd often wished she could have met Ethan Young sooner, started their life together earlier, this wasn't how she imagined it. This sudden time jump. What about her husband and child back in her own time? And if she had to travel back, why not a year or two earlier? Then she might have been able to save Ethan's parents. Zara had always been adaptable. Realizing she wasn't going back anytime soon, she decisively found Ethan's address and rushed over to his rental that very night. Her 22-year-old body felt great, full of energy. Climbing the stairs barely left her winded. With this kind of stamina, she could. A cooling patch rested on Ethan's forehead. Zara gently touched his face. He possessed a different kind of handsomeness at this age. After making sure Ethan was settled, Zara took a look around. The apartment was simple, but had everything necessary. The kitchen opened onto a balcony where a few clothes hung near a washing machine. The refrigerator stood in the living room. Ethan kept the place clean and tidy. Zara opened the fridge. It was mostly empty. A piece of meat in the freezer, a head of cabbage, a few peppers, some eggs, and condiments in a main compartment. Hardly enough for proper nutrition. Zara pulled out her iPhone and placed an order. Soon, groceries arrived. Fruit, milk, chicken, duck, beef, pork, various nutritional supplements, and vegetables quickly filled the fridge. Zara wasn't much of a cook. They had a housekeeper back home, and after marrying Ethan, she'd cooked even less. But she was good at making soups, especially sour radish and duck soup, because Ethan loved it. When Ethan was sick and had no appetite, he craved flavorful soups, and this one was his favorite, so she made a point to learn it. Zara took out the ingredients, preparing them step by step. Ethan's cooking habits were already apparent. The spice rack on the counter, the clay pot stored on the bottom shelf. Zara retrieved the pot and started the soup, bringing it to a boil before simmering it over low heat. Steam filled the kitchen. She stepped back into the bedroom. Ethan was still asleep, but restlessly, his brow furrowed as if caught in a nightmare. Zara reached out, leaning over to gently stroke his head, soothing him the way she would soothe their daughter, Claire. "Ethan." Mama. Ethan murmured, tears glistening at the corners of his eyes. A lump formed in Zara's throat, a tightness in her chest. "Since I'm here," she thought, *, I have to protect him. I won't let him suffer the same way again. Ethan didn't wake until noon, feeling groggy and disoriented, unsure of where he was at first. He'd had a dream. A dream where his parents came home with groceries, his dad cooking in the kitchen while his mom sat by his bed, asking if his cold was better. The house filled with delicious smells. He lay warm in bed, watching the sun outside the window. The sun's high in the sky. Sleepyhead. Time to get up. Senior year now. Just a little more effort. Keep pushing. You're almost there. 180 days left. If you need more allowance, just tell us. Which university are you thinking about? Wherever you want to go, Mom and Dad support you. You're back. Go wash up for dinner. Made your favorite duck soup today and some boiled fish. Got some strawberries in the fridge. Ethan, go tell your sister it's time to eat. Such beautiful scenes, once everyday occurrences, now felt like an unreachable dream. Don't they say you don't know you're dreaming when you're in a dream? Why did he know this was one? Consciousness slowly returned. He knew he should wake up, but he didn't want to. He wanted to stay in the dream forever. It was so much better there. His parents were alive. His sister wasn't sick. Asterisk, don't wake up. Don't wake up. Asterisk. A sliver of light hit his eyes, and Ethan instinctively blinked them open. They felt sore and blurry. His throat was dry. His body ached, completely drained of energy. Ethan stared at the familiar, mold-speckled ceiling, raising a hand to cover his eyes, unwilling to face reality. But just then, he caught the scent of sour radish soup wafting through the apartment. It smelled just like his mother used to make. Without thinking, Ethan swung his legs over the side of the bed, his bare feet hitting the cold floor. The apartment was small. From the bedroom door, he could see directly into the kitchen. He saw a figure there, a woman with long, waist-length hair, wearing his apron. Steam rose from the kitchen, carrying waves of the fragrant soup towards him. Ethan froze, staring in disbelief. Hearing the movement, Zara Sinclair turned around. You're awake. How are you feeling? Still dizzy? Ethan didn't answer. He thought he'd returned to reality, but now doubt crept back in. Did the fever scramble your brain? Zara put down her ladle and walked over to him. Hungry? I made that duck soup you like, and some millet porridge, and cooked some rice. Would you prefer the porridge or the rice? Ethan clenched his fists so hard his knuckles ached. The pain jolted him. This wasn't a dream. Who are you? He demanded. Why are you in my apartment? At this age, Ethan Young was sensitive and sharp-edged. He was wary, his eyes flashing with danger, like a young leopard. I'm your wife. Huh? He was only 19, not even legal marriage age. Where did a wife come from? Besides, did he even know her? A total stranger he'd never seen before just shows up calling herself his wife. Freaking you out? Hard to believe? Making you question reality? Yeah, me too, actually. You probably won't believe this, but I came here from 15 years in the future. 15 years from now, I'm 37, you're 34, and our kid is 6 years old. Her name is Claire Young, Claire for short. You picked it. Ethan Young's brow furrowed, his expression screaming. You think I'm going to believe you? Don't dismiss it yet. I can tell you a lot more. Like how your sister has a heart condition and is being treated at Seabreeze General Hospital right now. She needs a heart transplant to survive. Zara Sinclair rattled off the names of Ethan Young's parents, his old address, even some things that happened when he was a kid. Zara didn't know every single detail about Ethan's past. If Ethan wanted to talk about it, she listened. If he didn't, she wouldn't push. His parents' death was a wound that had never healed for Ethan, like a broken bone that ached relentlessly on damp, dreary days. You've certainly done your research. Zara explained. I didn't research it. You told me yourself. Oh, right. You have a scar on your index finger from when you cut yourself peeling an apple as a kid. And you have a mole on your hip bone. She looked smug saying this. Surely no one else would know about such a private spot. Sure enough, at the mention of that, Ethan Young's expression changed. Even a 34-year-old Ethan Young got flustered by her. The 19-year-old version didn't stand chance. Get out. Time travel. The future? Ethan didn't buy any of it. If people could just hop through time whenever they wanted, why couldn't he go back a year and save his parents? Ethan was sick and already irritable. Having a strange woman suddenly appear in his home, cooking without asking, and spouting a bunch of nonsense. It was understandable that he couldn't accept it right away. If he had accepted it easily, it wouldn't have been like him. Zara was silent for a moment. Do you really want me to leave? I spent all this time making soup. Ethan didn't say anything, his attitude cold. Zara slowly took off her apron, glancing back at Ethan reluctantly, again and again. Her eyes welled up, her gaze full of hurt, almost pleading. She paused every few steps, looking back, waiting for Ethan to ask her to stay, but even when she reached the door, he remained silent. Zara called out instructions. Remember to drink the soup in the pot. Don't throw it out, it'd be a waste. The medicine's on the coffee table. Remember to take it. Since you're sick, drink lots of water. Dress warmly so you don't catch a cold. Ethan watched Zara's lips move, his own hands clenched tightly, never loosening. Zara sighed, lowered her head, turned, and opened the door, stepping out. The door clicked shut, and the small apartment fell back into dead silence. An inexplicable tightness bloomed in his chest. Ethan went into the kitchen and turned off the stove. He looked at the soup in the clay pot. It was whitish, with a layer of yellow fat floating on top. Ethan didn't touch the soup. He opened the refrigerator, planning to finish off some leftovers, but stopped. The fridge was packed full, fruits, vegetables, everything imaginable. The freezer below was stuffed with various kinds of meat. Ethan shut the fridge and went back to the bedroom to change clothes. The closet was full too. He checked the tag on one item. The size was his. Don't tell me the shoe rack too. Ethan rushed out and opened it, just as he expected. How long had she even been here? How were there traces of her everywhere? There was no dining table. The coffee table served as the eating spot. On it sat a small bouquet of unopened gardenias, next to the medicine the doctor had prescribed. Ethan picked up the flowers. Their faint fragrance drifted to his nose, and his heart clenched again, an uncontrollable pang. The next second, he grabbed his jacket, ready to open the door and find that woman. All this stuff, it wasn't his, and he didn't want it. He had to return it. He opened the door and froze. Zara hadn't left. She was crouched right outside his door. The hallway of this kind of brownstone was damp and cold, mold creeping up the walls. Curled up in her thin clothes, Zara looked like she'd easily catch a cold. Hearing the door open beside her, Zara looked up, her eyes glistening wetly at him. Her lashes were damp, her eyes and cheeks flushed red. There was no telling how long she'd been crying out here. His sister was the one with the heart condition, so why did his heart ache so often, so sharply? Right now, it felt like a hand was squeezing it tight. He couldn't ignore the person in front of him. He couldn't just leave her there. Zara stood up hesitantly, her voice a little hoarse. Are you going out? Where are you going? Or, did you come out to make me leave for good? Ethan suppressed the tightness in his chest. Come inside. Hearing that, Zara immediately followed Ethan back inside. The apartment still smelled faintly of the duck soup. She asked, did you have any soup? No. Oh, this was the first time Zara had faced this version of Ethan. She wasn't used to it, and her expression felt a bit awkward. Ethan had never been this cold to her before. Even when they first met on a blind date, he had been kind and gentle. What had time done to Ethan? It had wounded him, worn down his sharp edges. Zara didn't blame him. She only felt sorry for him. The soup I made is really good. You taught me how to make it, remember? You should try some. Ethan's expression was complicated. He pressed his dry lips together, then said, let's eat together. A smile instantly lit up Zara's face as she followed Ethan into the kitchen. Ethan carried the soup pot. She grabbed the bowls. There's no table. We eat at the coffee table. Okay. Zara wiped the coffee table clean with a tissue and placed the gardenias on the floor. The table was small, so they sat facing each other very close. As Ethan set the soup down, Zara quickly ladled a bowl for him and carefully slid it across the table. Try it. Ethan didn't move. Zara understood. Given how wary he was, he probably suspected she'd put something in the soup, that she had ulterior motives. She did have intentions, but the 19-year-old Ethan was just too young, too green. Without a word, Zara ladled another bowl for herself, blew on it to cool it down, took a small sip, and then ate some of the meat. It's delicious. I didn't poison it. Only then did Ethan pick up his bowl. He took one sip and froze. The taste, it was so familiar. Zara watched him, smiling. It's good, right? Familiar taste? I told you, you taught me how to make it. I wouldn't lie to you. A decent meal could lower a person's guard. Ethan asked, what's your name? Hadn't she introduced herself? She thought back. Nope, she really hadn't. She'd been so focused on proving she was his wife that she forgot to say her name. One oversight. My name is Zara Sinclair. My name is Zara Sinclair. Zara like the gardenia flower. Ethan Young looked at the woman before him. Her fair skin and bright, almond-shaped eyes were still slightly red from crying, and her dark pupils were like pools of clear water. She wore a green dress that complemented her name, a white gardenia blossom against green leaves, its fragrance intoxicating. I live in Maplewood and was raised by Grandma Wood. Grandma Wood introduced us. We fell in love at first sight and had a blind date the next day. Ethan stopped mid-sip of his soup, frowning at her. Zara Sinclair certainly possessed the kind of beauty that could inspire love at first sight, but he was always cautious about marriage. A whirlwind blind date leading to whatever this was seemed improbable, unless it was for the money. For his sister, Emily, if he'd been desperate, he might have done it. So, was his relationship with Zara Sinclair some sort of financial transaction? Seeing Ethan lost in thought, Zara assumed he was doubting her story. Determined to prove they were a loving couple, she continued. Our marriage was harmonious, no conflicts. I got pregnant within a year. Your favorite spot was the sofa. You'd have me sit on you, and you'd carry me around the house. Besides the mole on your hip, I also know you're 22. Enough, stop it. Ethan flushed crimson. The 19-year-old was no match for this mature woman's teasing. He couldn't even look at her. How could a woman be so bold, so unrestrained? Zara's philosophy was that modesty was for strangers. Why be modest with your own husband? 15 years younger he might be, but he was still her husband. Ethan took a sip of soup, feeling hotter with each gulp, his throat tightening. Zara propped her chin in her hand, gazing at him with a playful smile. It had been a while since she'd seen Ethan so flustered. She finally understood the appeal of innocent older men and young hunks. She liked it too, though it was a bittersweet kind of craving. What else do you want to know? Ask me anything, I'll tell you. My sister, Emily, Ethan asked. Don't worry. The surgery was successful. She's cured. Ethan let out a breath, relieved. True or not, it offered him a sliver of comfort, a beam of light in the darkness of his despair. Zara knew Ethan responded better to gentleness than pressure. She had to be completely sincere with him. As the saying goes, treat others how you want to be treated. Offer sincerity in return for sincerity. She recounted details about Ethan's life and habits, things only he would know. It was unbelievable, yet he couldn't help but believe her. He stared at her silently for a long moment. Zara's eyes were incredibly expressive, her irises a rare black, her almond-shaped eyes radiating a captivating warmth. Their meal lasted a full hour, more talking than eating. Zara chipped away at the walls Ethan had built around himself, slowly opening the gates to his fortified city. Listening to Zara describe his life, Ethan felt a strange mix of familiarity and alienation. It was him, yet not him. Zara took a sip of water. Now do you believe I'm your wife? He did, but he didn't say it. She understood his reticence. Silence meant assent. Zara leaned closer. Since you believe me, how about a kiss? It's only natural for a husband to kiss his wife. If you're shy, I can take the initiative. Looking at her clear, beautiful face, Ethan's breath hitched. You said that was for later, he stammered. We don't have any kind of relationship right now. He stood abruptly to clear the dishes, his movements stiff and unnatural, clearly avoiding her. Watching his retreating figure, Zara knew, based on her understanding of him, that he was definitely attracted to her. After washing the dishes, Ethan checked the time. He was usually helping out at the restaurant at this hour, washing dishes, serving food, and clearing tables. He walked over to Zara. You should go back. You see how small this place is? It can't accommodate you. You know the 34-year-old Ethan Young, 15 years from now. Not me as I am now. But I came here for you. Where am I supposed to go if you ask me to leave? Whether you're 19 or 34, you're the same person to me. You're my husband. Knowing you're struggling, how could I just ignore you? Zara stepped closer, tugging his sleeve, closing the distance between them. Ethan, I'm here to save you and to love you. Don't push me away, okay? I don't want you to suffer. I want you to have a smooth, carefree, and safe life. If you lack confidence, I'll be your confidence. If you lack resources, I'll be your resource. I'll support you. I'll have your back. We'll save Emily together. We'll get her better sooner. You can take the college entrance exam. Haven't you always wanted to go to university up north? I'll take you to see the snow this winter, okay? We'll go play in the snow together. Since his parents' death, Ethan had been the pillar of his family, handling everything himself, never asking for help unless absolutely necessary. Life was tough, but he gritted his teeth and got through each day, one after another, year after year, watching the moon and then the sun. Ethan, the meaning of meeting is to illuminate each other, to be each other's safe haven and spiritual support. The way we met is both a coincidence and destiny. Relying solely on yourself won't earn you respect. If you can lean on someone, why not? Leveraging all available resources to achieve your goals is what smart people do. Zara tried to instill this new mindset in Ethan, encouraging him to accept help. She didn't know how long she could stay, so she wanted to help him as quickly as possible to equip him for the future. She never believed in platitudes like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, or no pain, no gain. Suffering wasn't something to be glorified. People talked about developing resilience through hardship only because hardship was unavoidable. She believed Ethan could succeed without enduring unnecessary suffering. She could help him soar to great heights, or accompany him up the ladder of success. She could afford to give, and she could afford to gamble. Say something, husband, Zara pleaded, shaking his arm. She looked at him with tear-filled eyes, tears stubbornly clinging to her lashes, as if a single word of refusal would send them spilling over. Ethan instinctively reached out to catch them, but stopped just short of her face. "Okay," he said. Hearing the answer she wanted, Zara jumped into his arms, hugging him tightly. "Husband, you don't have to be so strong anymore, because your strength has arrived." Extra Chapter 5. She healed him, she saved him. Ethan Young stood stiffly, letting Zara Sinclair hold him, cling to him. She smelled sweet and felt soft, her warmth steadily seeping into him. He suddenly understood why his future self would fall in love with Zara Sinclair. Because she was too wonderful. She had saved him and healed him, like a beam of light illuminating his life. He craved this light, couldn't bear to let it go. Just like that line from an Emily Dickinson poem, "Had I not seen the sun slash, I could have borne the shade." Finally, Ethan Young raised his hands and tried to hug Zara Sinclair back. Once he did, he couldn't bring himself to let go. In the end, it was Zara Sinclair who pulled away first. She took out her iPhone. "Here, let me transfer you $15 million. Take your sister and get her transferred. I know a place, Seabreeze General Hospital." $15 million is too much. It's not much. It's good to have money on hand. If you don't take the $15 million, I'll transfer $20 million. It actually went up. Ethan Young gave her his account number, and Zara Sinclair directly transferred $15 million to his account with a note voluntary gift. "Consider it a loan. When I have money, I'll definitely pay you back with interest." Zara Sinclair wanted to say that spouses didn't need to be so formal. She and Ethan Young had been married for so many years and had never argued about money. He used his movies to advertise for her, and she would help him find investors. It was mutually beneficial. Considering Ethan Young's strong pride, Zara Sinclair said, "How about this? Quit your current job and come work for me. Consider this your salary. What do you think?" "Okay." Since he was taking her money, naturally whatever Zara Sinclair said went. Zara Sinclair put her hands behind her back and leaned closer. "So, you'll do whatever I tell you to do?" Ethan Young's eyes darkened. He glanced at her, then looked away. After a moment, he let out a soft "Then give me a kiss." Ethan Young nodded. He agreed just like that. Zara Sinclair slowly leaned in, her lips getting closer and closer. She could clearly sense Ethan Young's tense expression. She quickly kissed Ethan Young's cheek, her eyes fixed on his reaction. His expression didn't change much, just a suppressed tightness at the corners of his mouth and those dark eyes. Zara Sinclair felt a tickle in her chest. She patted Ethan Young's head. "Call me sister again. Let me hear it." Ethan Young rarely called her sister willingly. Only when they were playing little games would he agree to say it. Getting him to call her sister was always such an effort. Ethan Young's lips remained tightly pressed for a long moment before finally moving. "See, sister." Those simple two words made her heart clench, like a little deer was trapped inside her chest, constantly jumping. How could a 19-year-old Ethan Young be so obedient? Hearing him say it melted her heart. "Hurry up and take your medicine. After that, we'll go see Emily Young and get her transferred." The priority was dealing with Emily Young's hospitalization and treatment. Only when Emily Young was well could Ethan Young focus on his own affairs without worry. Ethan Young finished his medicine and then, at Zara Sinclair's request, changed into new clothes. The clothes were his size, the fabric comfortable, and they fit perfectly. Zara Sinclair admired him with satisfaction. She basically picked out all of Ethan Young's clothes, even his underwear. The 19-year-old Ethan Young was on the thin side, currently 5 feet 11 inches, but he would still grow taller. His physique would only get better, and he would become even more handsome. After changing into the new clothes, his whole aura seemed elevated. "I need to use the restroom." Ethan Young avoided Zara Sinclair's intense gaze. There was a small mirror in the bathroom, usually used for shaving, only showing his face, not his whole body. Ethan Young looked away from the mirror. He pulled down his pants and saw the mole on his hip bone. Suddenly, Zara Sinclair's words flashed through his mind. A mole on the hip bone, and as for below. Ethan Young's breath hitched, almost losing his composure. He quickly pulled his pants back up, took a deep breath, and splashed cold water on his face. Only when the stirring subsided did he walk out. Zara Sinclair was waiting outside. As soon as he saw her face, his mind filled with chaotic thoughts. Zara Sinclair instantly noticed something was off about Ethan Young's expression. How strange. He seemed fine when he went in. Why did he look like this coming out? Could it be, "Don't you like the clothes?" "I like them." They look good. Then why are you acting so awkward? Zara Sinclair studied him with a probing gaze, making Ethan Young increasingly uncomfortable. His voice became hoarse. Let's go. We'll go downstairs and get a taxi. The Seabreeze General Hospital, where Emily Young was staying, was quite far from here. It would take a couple of hours by car to get there. Rent near Seabreeze General Hospital was too high for him to afford, so he had to choose a place further out. Zara Sinclair had driven. Her car was parked nearby. As they drove towards Seabreeze General Hospital, Ethan Young cautiously asked, "My sister's heart isn't strong, and she doesn't handle things well. Could we—" "Don't worry, I know how to handle it." Zara Sinclair thought for a moment. "How about this? Just explain to Emily Young that I'm here to sponsor you both. I'll prepare some documents for you later." The Sinclair family already had its own charitable foundation that selected suitable individuals for donations and sponsorships. There were procedures. Ethan Young quietly said to Zara Sinclair, "Thank you." He owed Zara Sinclair too much. He would definitely work hard for her in the future. When they arrived at Seabreeze General Hospital, the environment was truly quite average. Emily Young was in a private room with a bathroom, and a nurse Wilson was looking after her. At this time, Emily Young was only 6 years old, small and thin, with a pale complexion, short hair tucked behind her ears, small cheeks, and large facial features, especially her eyes. Emily Young was very happy to see her brother. There wasn't much entertainment in the hospital. She usually just watched TV or read books. Ethan Young had bought her an iPhone, but it was only used for calls and text messages. "Brother, why are you here? Didn't you say you were coming tomorrow? Why are you wearing a mask?" Ethan Young's cold hadn't completely cleared up yet. He wore the mask, afraid of infecting her and worsening her condition. "Just a little cold." "Is it serious?" "Not serious. I've already taken medicine. I came today to handle your hospital transfer." Ethan Young introduced Zara Sinclair beside him. "This is Miss Sullivan. She has offered to sponsor us." Only then did Emily Young notice the person behind Ethan Young, and she stared, stunned. Emily Young felt a bit awkward and shy, not daring to look directly at Zara Sinclair because she was so beautiful. Not only was she beautiful, but she was also so kind-hearted. Someone was willing to sponsor them, which meant things would be easier for her brother. "Miss, thank you." As she spoke, she immediately got out of bed and bowed, tears falling from her eyes. Zara Sinclair quickly embraced her. "You and your brother are both exceptional people. Things will get better and better for you. Just call me Sister Zara. Don't be so formal." Emily Young obediently called out, "Sister Zara." Zara Sinclair gently wiped the tears from her face. "Ethan, go handle the transfer procedures." The transfer procedures were handled quickly. They could leave today. However, Ethan Young still had to tutor a child that afternoon. The time was already set, and he couldn't cancel, so they would have to leave tomorrow morning. Author's note: this is still the same Ethan Young. He will have this memory too. It's like Zara Sinclair entered Ethan Young's dream. "You enter my dream, completing a dream for me within my broken memories." Extra Chapter 6. Roses for You Mean I Love You. After comforting Emily Young, Ethan received a text message from the parents of one of his students, asking him to come tutor their elementary schooler at 6 p.m. A colleague had referred him for the job. It paid $80 an hour, so 3 hours of work would net him $240. Tutoring jobs weren't easy to come by, and even when he found one, getting started wasn't simple. Tutoring elementary schoolers seemed easy, but it was actually mentally taxing. Some kids struggled with comprehension, requiring various approaches before they truly grasped the material. Ethan would tailor his lesson plans to each child's understanding, breaking down the knowledge until they could absorb it. You had to lay a solid foundation before you could build a skyscraper. Thanks to Ethan's patience and meticulousness, the students' grades improved significantly, going from failing to consistently scoring around 80. The parents were thrilled and even gave him a small bonus. His hourly rate increased from 80 to 100. The boy also grew quite fond of Ethan, who always encouraged him, acknowledged his efforts, and told him he was smart. Knowing Ethan's family was struggling financially and urgently needed money, the boy studied even harder, hoping his parents would give his young teacher another bonus. Ethan decided to quit after today's lesson. He patiently helped the boy with his homework, pointing out areas where he struggled, trying to see things from the child's perspective. He wrote extensive, easy-to-understand notes to help the boy continue learning later. Even though the boy wasn't the best student, he was sensible and considerate, with his own unique strengths. When the boy heard Ethan was leaving, he started crying and asked between sobs, "Ethan, is it because I'm too dumb? Do you not like me anymore? Am I learning too slowly?" Ethan ruffled his hair. "No, that's not at all. You're very smart and you work really hard. I'll miss you too, But my little sister is sick. I have to take her somewhere else for treatment, and it's too far away from me to keep tutoring you." The boy nodded, only vaguely understanding. Although he didn't want Ethan to leave, he knew Ethan had worked so hard tutoring him to pay for his sister's treatment, and he couldn't stand in his way. The parents were also sad to see Ethan go. They had hired many tutors for their son, but none had been as effective as Ethan. With Ethan, not only had their son's grades improved, but he had also become more mature and well-behaved. Ethan hadn't just taught their son. He had somehow helped bridge the gap between the boy and his parents too. "Will you ever come back?" the mother asked. Ethan shook his head. "I'm not sure." The parents sighed. "Well, if you ever want to tutor again, give us a call. You're dedicated and you teach so well. The boy will miss you, and so will we." Ethan smiled. Okay. Ethan always saw things through, and he believed in repaying kindness twofold. He handed the notes he'd prepared to the parents, pointed out the areas where their son still needed work, discussed potential solutions, and made sure to praise the boy's efforts as well. As they were talking, the boy's mother suddenly asked, "Ethan, you probably don't have a girlfriend at your age, right? How about I introduce you to someone? My cousin's daughter just started college, a top-tier university. She's pretty, good personality. You don't need to introduce me to anyone. Are you worried about your family situation?" The mother misunderstood, cutting Ethan off before he could finish. "Don't worry about that. My cousin's family only cares about a person's character, not their financial background." "No, that's not it. What I wanted to say," Ethan said seriously, "is that I already have a girlfriend." As soon as he said it, an awkward expression flickered across the mother's face. "Oh, I see. You never mentioned her, so I just assumed." She briefly wondered if he was just saying that, but when Ethan mentioned his girlfriend, his expression visibly softened. His usually somber eyes seemed to light up, as if a ray of sunshine had pierced through. After discussing the boy's studies, Ethan prepared to leave. Seeing this, the parent quickly pressed another bonus into his hand as a thank you for his dedication. It wasn't a large amount, more of a gesture of goodwill. Ethan tried to refuse, but they insisted, so he accepted it. His phone vibrated in his pocket. Ethan checked it, a message from Zara Sinclair, asking when he'd be home. 50 minutes. Want me to bring anything back for you to eat?" He typed back. "No." As Ethan walked, he passed someone selling flowers on the street. He normally wouldn't have given them a second glance, but this time he stopped. He took out the tutoring money he'd just received and bought a bouquet. It was already 10 o'clock when he reached his apartment complex. Ethan looked up at his floor. The light was on. Finally, among the countless lights in the city, one was shining just for him. His world, once monochrome, had burst into color with Zara Sinclair's arrival. Life now held promise, and things were steadily improving. Sometimes, all it took was taking that one step to realize everything could change. He felt eager, grounded. Just seeing her made him look forward to tomorrow. Ethan took the elevator up and unlocked his door. Zara Sinclair was waiting right inside. The moment the door opened, she leaped into his arms, and he caught her securely as she jumped. "Missed you," she murmured. "We were only apart for 4 hours." "What do you mean, for hours?" Zara Sinclair corrected, emphasizing each word. "It was 4 hours and 46 minutes. People say absence makes the heart grow fonder, like days feel like years. For me, seconds felt like years. I missed you so much. I thought I'd die missing you." Faced with such declarations, Ethan was clearly flustered. His arms around Zara Sinclair felt stiff, he swallowed hard, and the tips of his ears turned red. Zara Sinclair noticed his red ears and playfully flicked one. "Want something to eat? I can make you a bowl of noodles." "Okay." Zara Sinclair pulled back and noticed the roses in Ethan's hand. "Are those for me?" "Yeah." Ethan looked down, offering her the bouquet. "They're for you." Zara Sinclair took them eagerly. "I love them, thank you. Do you know what it means to give a woman roses?" Of course, Ethan knew. When he'd seen the flower vendor earlier, Zara Sinclair's face had inexplicably popped in his mind, and he just wanted to buy them for her. He figured she'd like them. Seeing her smile was enough to make him happy too. "I know." Ethan met her gaze, speaking slowly and deliberately, enunciating each word with care. "It means I love you." She had thought Ethan was like a block of wood, a clam unwilling to open up. But in that moment, she caught a glimpse of the Ethan from 5 years ago. Zara Sinclair's heart skipped a beat, an uncontrollable smile spreading across her lips. Clutching the flowers, she fluttered around like a happy butterfly. They didn't have a vase, so she temporarily put the roses in a bucket of water. Zara Sinclair put a pot of water on to boil. Once it bubbled, she added the noodles and prepared the seasonings. When the noodles were cooked, she served them up, thoughtfully frying 2 eggs to go with them for Ethan. It was just a simple bowl of instant noodles, but Ethan ate it with genuine enjoyment. Is it good? Delicious. Did you wrap things up okay at work? Yeah, all settled. The parents even gave me a bonus. And you used the bonus money to buy me flowers? Ethan just hummed an affirmation. Compared to everything Zara Sinclair had done for him, a few flowers were nothing. After Zara Sinclair moved in, sleeping arrangements became an issue.